Imagine a time long, long ago. We are traveling back 4.6 million years to a period known as the Pliocene epoch. The world is a very different place. It is warmer than today, and vast grasslands stretch across continents like a golden sea. In these ancient landscapes, incredible animals roam free. Among them are the ancestors of our modern elephants. These were not the elephants we know today, but their relatives, magnificent and enormous creatures. They walked the earth with a quiet power, their huge bodies moving slowly through the tall grasses. This was their world, a world of survival where every part of their body had a purpose, a reason for being. What is this special material we call ivory? It is not just a bone. Ivory is a hard, white material that comes from the tusks and teeth of certain animals. It is a type of dentin, the same substance that makes up most of our own teeth, but it grows continuously and becomes much larger. In this ancient world, many animals had tusks made of ivory. The most famous were the gomphotheres, ancient relatives of elephants. They had long, strange tusks, some even growing from their lower jaws like giant shovels. These tusks were a sign of strength and a vital tool for life in this prehistoric wilderness. They were a part of the animal, as important as its legs or its trunk. The world these animals lived in was full of challenges. There were large predators, like saber-toothed cats, always watching from the shadows. The climate was changing, sometimes bringing long dry seasons when food and water were hard to find. To survive, every animal needed an advantage. For the ancient elephant relatives, their ivory tusks were that advantage. These tusks were not just for show, they were essential instruments for daily life. They were a gift from evolution, a key that helped unlock the resources of the land. The story of these creatures is deeply connected to the story of their ivory. Let's look closely at these magnificent animals. Picture a Dinotherium, another ancient relative of the elephant. Its tusks were unique, curving downwards from its lower jaw. It looked truly strange, unlike anything alive today. Or imagine the Platybelodon, with its flattened, shovel-like tusks. Each species had developed different kinds of tusks to suit its specific needs and environment. This incredible diversity shows how nature finds many different ways to solve the problem of survival. The ivory tusks were a testament to the power of adaptation, showing how life can change and thrive over millions of years, creating a wonderful variety of forms. The primary use of ivory for these ancient animals was finding food. The world was not a supermarket. Food had to be worked for. Gomphotheres could use their long, powerful tusks to dig into the ground. They searched for roots and tubers, nutritious foods hidden beneath the soil that other animals could not reach. They could also use their tusks to strip bark from trees, another important food source, especially when grass was scarce. The tusks acted like giant forks and knives, allowing these huge animals to get the thousands of calories they needed each day. Without their ivory tools, they would have struggled to find enough to eat. Ivory was also a formidable weapon for defense. Living in a world with fearsome predators meant that even the largest animals needed to protect themselves and their young. A sweep of a long, sharp tusk could scare away even the most determined hunter. A mother elephant relative could form a protective circle around her calf, with her tusks facing outwards, creating a wall of ivory that was almost impossible to break through. This powerful display of strength was often enough to prevent a fight. The tusks were a clear signal to any predator: stay away or face the consequences. Beyond food and defense, tusks played a crucial role in shaping the environment itself. By digging and clearing vegetation, these animals were ecosystem engineers. When they dug for water in a dry riverbed, they created water holes that other, smaller animals could also use. When they knocked down trees to eat the leaves, they created open spaces where new grasses could grow, providing food for other grazers. Their daily activities, driven by the need to use their tusks, helped to create a balanced and diverse habitat. They were not just living in their world, they were actively helping to build it for everyone. Furthermore, tusks were important in the social lives of these animals. For males, the size and strength of their tusks could be a sign of their health and power. They might use them in contests with other males to win the right to mate, ensuring that the strongest genes were passed on to the next generation. These were not usually fights to the death, but rather ritualized displays of dominance. The tusks became a symbol of status within the herd. Their gleaming ivory was a language that every other animal understood, communicating strength, maturity, and the right to lead the family group. As millions of years passed, a new creature began to walk the earth. These were the early humans, our distant ancestors. They were small and not as strong as the giant animals around them. They had to be clever to survive. When these early humans first encountered the world of giant elephants, they would have seen them with a mix of fear and wonder. They saw the great tusks and understood their power. They saw how the animals used them to find food and defend themselves. But they also saw something else. They saw a material that was strong, beautiful, and could be shaped. The first interactions humans had with ivory were likely opportunistic. An ancient elephant may have died of old age or been killed by a predator. The early humans scavenging for resources would have come across the remains. They would have found the huge ivory tusks. For them, this was an incredible discovery. Here was a material much stronger and more durable than wood or simple stone. They could see its potential. This was not just a part of an animal anymore. It was a raw material, a treasure left behind on the savannah, waiting to be used by intelligent hands. It did not take long for early humans to learn how to use ivory. Their first tools were simple, but ivory allowed them to create things they could not make before. They learned to carefully break the ivory and then shape it by grinding it against rocks. They could make sharp points for spears, which made hunting much more effective and safer. This was a huge step for human survival. A hunter with an ivory-tipped spear could hunt larger animals from a safer distance. Ivory became a key to a better and more reliable source of food, helping these small human groups to grow and thrive. Beyond tools for hunting, humans found many other uses for this versatile material. They carved it into needles for sewing animal skins together to make clothing and shelters. This helped them survive in colder climates as they moved out of Africa. They also carved small figures and beads from ivory. These were some of the very first forms of art. These objects may have had special meaning, perhaps used in rituals or worn as jewelry. Ivory was not just helping humans survive physically, it was also becoming part of their culture, a way for them to express their creativity and their ideas about the world. The story of ivory is a perfect example of evolution in action. For millions of years, the tusks of elephant-like creatures changed and adapted. The shape of the tusks of the Deinotherium, curving downwards, was perfect for stripping bark. The shovel tusks of the Platybelodon were ideal for scooping up water plants. Each adaptation was a response to a specific environment and a specific way of life. This demonstrates how natural selection works. The animals with the most useful tusks for their habitat were more likely to survive, eat well, and have offspring. Over time, these useful traits became more common. The relationship between these giant animals and early humans is also a story of co-evolution. As humans became better hunters, partly by using ivory tools, they put pressure on the populations of large animals. This was a new challenge that the ancient elephants had not faced before. The arrival of clever, tool-using humans changed the rules of survival. The animals had to adapt to a new kind of predator, one that could think and plan. This complex dance between predator and prey, between human ingenuity and animal strength, has shaped the natural world for millennia. The legacy of ivory connects the deep past with our present. The same material that helped an ancient Gomphothere dig for roots also helped an early human sew a warm coat. It shows how interconnected life is. The survival strategies of one species can become the building blocks for another. The long history of ivory is written in the fossil record and in the earliest human artifacts. It tells a story of adaptation, of challenges, and of the incredible creativity of life on Earth, both in the animal kingdom and in the rise of human culture. It is a shared history between animals and people. Today, when we think of ivory, we often think of the dangers facing modern elephants due to poaching. The story of its ancient past reminds us of its original purpose. It was never meant to be a luxury item. It was a tool for survival, a masterpiece of evolution that allowed magnificent creatures to thrive for millions of years. Understanding this long history gives us a deeper appreciation for these animals and the incredible journey they have taken. The story of ivory is a powerful reminder of the beauty and complexity of the natural world and our place within it.